Question 1. What's your approach to infrastructure design? Answer. I design scalable and resilient infrastructure solutions using modern architectural patterns. I implement infrastructure as code, ISC, using tools like Terraform and CloudFormation. I ensure high availability, fault tolerance, and disaster recovery capabilities. I also maintain comprehensive documentation and follow security best practices. Question 2. How do you handle infrastructure security? Answer. I implement comprehensive security measures including network segmentation, access controls, and encryption. I conduct regular security audits and vulnerability assessments. I implement security monitoring and logging solutions. I also ensure compliance with security standards and regulations. Question 3. What's your experience with cloud services? Answer. I have extensive experience with Oz, Azure, and GCP services. I design cloud-native architectures and implement multi-cloud strategies. I optimize cloud resources for cost and performance. I also implement cloud security best practices and maintain cloud governance frameworks. Question 4. How do you handle infrastructure maintenance? Answer. I implement proactive maintenance procedures including regular updates, patches, and system checks. I use monitoring tools to identify potential issues before they impact services. I maintain detailed maintenance schedules and documentation. I also implement automated maintenance tasks where possible. Question 5. What's your approach to automation? Answer. I implement comprehensive automation using tools like Ansible, Puppet, and custom scripts. I automate infrastructure provisioning, configuration management, and deployment processes. I use CI/CD pipelines for automated testing and deployment. I also maintain automation documentation and version control. Question 6. How do you handle infrastructure monitoring? Answer. I implement comprehensive monitoring solutions using tools like Prometheus, Grafana, and Elk Stack. I monitor system performance, resource utilization, and application metrics. I set up automated alerts and maintain monitoring dashboards. I also conduct regular monitoring reviews and optimizations. Question 7. What's your experience with virtualization? Answer. I have extensive experience with VMware, Hyper-V, and KVM virtualization platforms. I design and manage virtual environments for optimal resource utilization. I implement high availability and disaster recovery solutions. I also maintain virtualization documentation and best practices. Question 8. How do you handle infrastructure updates? Answer. I implement a structured update process including testing, validation, and rollback procedures. I use automated update tools and maintain update schedules. I ensure minimal service disruption during updates. I also maintain update documentation and change management procedures. Question 9. What's your approach to documentation? Answer. I maintain comprehensive documentation including architecture diagrams, configuration guides, and operational procedures. I use documentation tools and maintain version control. I ensure documentation is kept up to date and accessible. I also implement automated documentation generation where possible. Question 10. How do you handle capacity planning? Answer. I implement capacity planning processes including resource forecasting and scaling strategies. I analyze usage patterns and plan for growth. I implement auto-scaling solutions and maintain capacity documentation. I also conduct regular capacity reviews and optimizations. Question 11. What's your experience with containers? Answer. I have extensive experience with Docker and Kubernetes for container orchestration. I design containerized applications and microservices architectures. I implement container security and monitoring solutions. I also maintain container documentation and best practices. Question 12. How do you handle infrastructure tools? Answer. I use a variety of infrastructure tools including monitoring, automation, and management solutions. I implement tool integration and maintain tool documentation. I evaluate new tools and technologies regularly. I also ensure proper tool licensing and compliance. Question 13. What's your approach to disaster recovery? Answer. I implement comprehensive disaster recovery solutions, including backup strategies and recovery procedures. I conduct regular disaster recovery testing and maintain recovery documentation. I ensure compliance with recovery time objectives, RTO, and recovery point objectives, RPO. I also implement automated recovery processes where possible. Question 14. How do you handle infrastructure testing? Answer. I implement comprehensive testing strategies including unit tests, integration tests, and performance tests. I use automated testing tools and maintain test documentation. I conduct regular testing reviews and updates. I also implement continuous testing in CI/CD pipelines. Question 15. What's your experience with networking? Answer. I have extensive experience with network design, implementation, and management. I configure routers, switches, and firewalls. I implement network security and monitoring solutions. I also maintain network documentation and best practices. Question 16. How do you handle infrastructure architecture? Answer. I design and maintain infrastructure architectures that meet business requirements. I implement modern architectural patterns and best practices. I ensure scalability, reliability, and security. I also maintain architecture documentation and conduct regular architecture reviews. Question 17. What's your approach to performance? Answer. I implement performance optimization strategies, including resource tuning and load balancing. I monitor performance metrics and implement improvements based on analysis. I conduct regular performance testing and optimization. I also maintain performance documentation and benchmarks. Question 18. How do you handle infrastructure security? Answer. I implement comprehensive security measures including access controls, encryption, and monitoring. I conduct regular security audits and vulnerability assessments. I ensure compliance with security standards and regulations. I also maintain security documentation and procedures. Question 19. What's your experience with monitoring? Answer. I implement comprehensive monitoring solutions using tools like Prometheus, Grafana, and Elk Stack. I monitor system performance, resource utilization, and security events. I set up automated alerts and maintain monitoring dashboards. I also conduct regular monitoring reviews and optimizations. Question 20. What makes you a strong infrastructure engineer? Answer. I combine deep technical expertise with strong problem-solving skills and business understanding. I maintain a focus on building reliable, scalable, and secure infrastructure solutions. I stay current with the latest technologies and best practices. I ensure proper documentation, testing, and monitoring of all solutions.